And this book won the 1998 Locus Fantasy Award? How? Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing Earthquake Weather by Tim Powers. And I've got not very many positive things to say about it, so let's get cracking straight away. Number one, even though you could read this book on its own, it's actually book 3 on the Fault Lines Trilogy. So even though strictly it's not a trilogy because the first 2 books can be read in whichever order you want them to, in theory you need to read Last Call first, then Expiration Date, and then finally Earthquake Weather. But it's not really a trilogy because Last Call is its own self-contained story, Expiration Date is its own self-contained story, and then Earthquake Weather brings together all the different characters from the 2 books into this final story that really does not build on the themes of Last Call or Expiration Date. So to me, bit of a pointless book, and at just over 800 pages, a touch unnecessary. Now, what it is a total failure to build on the themes of the previous 2 books. So in Last Call, we had the really cool thing about playing poker with tarot cards to claim the soul of different people. So that was a really cool thing, probably one of Tim Powers' most accomplished books. Then on Earthquake Weather, we had the whole weird thing with ghosts that he does and how you can inhale someone's ghost and something. But then it gets a little bit lost in Tim Powers' lack of defined rules as to why certain things work or not. And then Earthquake Weather kind of references events in Last Call, kind of references events in Expiration Date, but it doesn't build on the themes of the poker games with tarot cards. It really doesn't build on the whole ghosts and the ability to inhale them and interiorize them into you or anything like that. And instead, what we have is basically its own mythology about certain earthquakes that took place in California in the 90s. And it's a sort of parallel story with the Arthurian legend where the wealth of the country, of the land, is tied with the health and wealth of the king. So the king of the West, being Scott Crane, our main character from Last Call, Scott is no more around, and therefore all these earthquakes are happening. And then let's bring extra mythology here in this final book, because why not bring together the 2 things we did in the previous 2 books? No. Now let's bring Dionysus, the god of wine, back, because we are in California, so obviously we must have wine. So then we create this whole mythology about wine and the secret history of wine, and Tim Powers talks about the different strands of the different vines that were brought from Europe, and this sort of mixing of the different grapes to create new kinds of wine, and these secret wines that are kept in a cellar, and so on. So it kind of all sort of disappears up its own backside, so to speak. And basically, what we have is our characters from Last Call hook up fairly randomly with the characters from Earthquake. I keep calling it Earthquake. Well, from Expiration Date, to bring Scott Crane back to life, because he is the king of the West, and the boy that was the main protagonist in Expiration Date is meant to be the new king of the West, but then that's at odds with bringing Scott Crane back. So how's that going to happen? And they are being chased around by some weird psychopath psychiatrist, where 2 of his patients have run away from his practice, and they've joined these characters for God knows why. And it's just all really a touch unnecessary. I do not understand why anyone would like to start here. You could plausibly read these first, and it would be a self-contained story. But the only way I conceive reading this book is if you've read Last Call and Expiration Date before. And even if you've read them, you don't really need this. It doesn't bring everything together in some sort of satisfyingly climactic ending. It really doesn't. It tries to be its own thing. It builds its own mythology around the grapes and wine and stuff like that. And instead of the characters from Last Call and Expiration Date, there could have been any other characters and it wouldn't have mattered. It would have been its own thing. Again, I do not understand how this is any award-winning fantasy, because I don't know, it was a bit tough. It's a bit overly long. Also, you kind of know how it's going to end, and I'm going into spoiler territory here. So we have our characters where they're trying to resuscitate Scott Crane, and in order to do so, they have to drink some kind of weird wine that they got to find somewhere under the certain light of the moon on a certain day in a particular place or whatever. And we get into that, and they do it, and they fail. But we still got 100 pages to go, so they're going to succeed in the end. Like there's a certain lack of tension. There's a certain lack of narrative thrill to keep you invested and engaged and motivated. And then I don't know if it was an attempt at comedy, but like one of the characters, one of these psychiatry patients that escape, she's got like multiple personality, right? But like proper, not psychology. Like she literally is 6 different people that take turns with the body, and then the other patient is trying to sort of get with one of the personalities. But so whenever he's about to, then the personality swaps, and then he's confronted by like the sister or the dad or whatever, and it's all it is not great. It really isn't great. I think, just to put my final thoughts on this, that it was a missed opportunity to build and bring together the themes of the tarot poker thing, the ghost thing. Once again, and I find this with pretty much all of Tim Powers' books, characters are doing things, but I don't really know why they're doing them. Why putting mirrors facing out on your car, it stops ghosts from approaching you or confuses them? For once, I miss a hard magic system, so to speak, okay? Or that we saw sort of consistent patterns of behavior in the characters across the different books, so you sort of get to understand how the magic works in these books, but I never do. So I think, quite possibly, I might reread The Anubis Gates, but this is my last Tim Powers book I'm ever going to read.